Then is the green, who comforts. They are the calm sort. They speak, they are very consoling and they are so easygoing people. You can feel that warmth around when they are there. And they like physical closeness also. They would be hugging and they would be sitting close to you. That is how physically they are very warm people. The blues, they are on the contrasting side. They maintain a safer distance. They keep distance from everyone and they are into a controlling manner. They control with their gaze, they have their poise, and they don't have any expressive emotions. Their facial expressions are very neutral. So that is how, like, this is just a short example what I have said, how you can recognize the four colors wherever you are sitting, and it helps us to maintain a harmony in the atmosphere, and you can develop trust once you know the people. Once you know their nature, it is easier to establish a rapport. So let's begin in the next chapter what author holds for us. I'll start sharing the PDF. 1 minute. Where is that? Mm, okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So I'll start. Then you can write the names in the chat box. Whoever wants to read next. Fine. A real life example. The company party. How to understand everyone you meet. Many years ago, I used to work in the banking sector. It was an interesting job in many ways, though it could be a little humdrum at times. However, I learned a lot by meeting many different types of people, and I have many stories of funny customer meetings from that period. The most interesting insights, however, I gained behind the scenes. One of the more startling experiences was at a branch where I was working in the 1990s. A series of behavior stereotypes were working there. Some of them were obvious in their behavioral profiles. We had incredibly distinctive blues and equally obvious greens and yellows. And of course, a red boss. One spring, we had been working incredibly hard. Many had been out sick, and we were under pressure from customers. People were tired, irritated, and touchy. We really need some good news. The person who got fed up with all the hard work first was one of the yellow advisors. One day, she came into the lunchroom and said that she had had enough of all our grumpy faces. We needed something fun to do, and she knew exactly what. It was time to find a goal, something to look forward to. A company party would save the day. Full of enthusiasm, she told us that she had seen a very nice conference center nearby where all of us could go for a weekend to have a good rest. They had a stunning spa and gym, snazzy hotel rooms, and a trendy restaurant that was truly a la mode. In addition, she knew the owner through a friend of a friend and could probably get a bargain price on the whole package. She just wanted to know what we thought about the idea. So, who wants to read? Suman?
Just give me 5 to 10 minutes. I'll read next. Yeah.
Okay. Mansi, are you interested? Or I'll read.
Yeah, you continue for a while, then maybe after some time I'll join.
Okay. At first, we all stared at her, not knowing if the whole thing was for real. Because, because we suspected that she probably didn't know the owner at all. With a broad smile, she continued to speak, talking about all the fun we could have. We could play games, organize some friendly competitions, enjoy bubble baths, and of course, have a monster party in the evening. A lively discussion began, and several of us thought the idea sounded great. The Red Bank director looked around and saw that his employees liked the idea. Thankfully, he was keen on the idea. We were tired and worn out, and he wanted to show his appreciation for our commitment. He made the decision right there and then. After a 5-minute discussion, he declared that there would be a party and he promised to foot the bill. He looked at the yellow woman who had suggested the party and asked if she was prepared to organize everything, make the necessary calls, and book everything. She immediately began to deliver a long harangue that was nothing more than one big smoke screen to hide the fact that she thought she had done her bit by coming up with the idea. The red boss silenced her with a wave of his hand. A few green colleagues were sitting behind him on a corner of the sofa, the same corner where they always sat. The boss didn't even need to turn around to be able to call them by name. He asked each of them if they would help. They all agreed without really knowing what he had asked. The red boss nodded briefly and left the room. He was done. As he stood up, he forgot about the matter immediately. Excitement burst forth, and everyone with red and yellow in their behavior profiles began exclaiming about the party, all talking at the same time. The yellow advisor was extremely enthusiastic and continued to sell the idea, despite the fact that the decision had already been made. Her proposals for the type of party we should have become wilder and wilder. I remember that she started with a black tie ball and had come all the way to a toga party before someone managed to silence her. However, one person sat silently in the corner. Our blue credit manager was very concerned. When everything calmed down a bit, he said with a loud voice, "But how are we supposed to get there?" The only thing he had heard about the whole affair was that the conference center was 20 miles outside the town, and now the problems were stacking up. We were faced with a significant logistical challenge. Should we go by car or taxi, or had the bank planned a charter or bus? How would this actually be done? Endless obstacles were lining up. He crossed his arms and clenched his teeth. The yellow woman erupted and tore into him right away. How could he be so negative? Here she was after coming with the best idea in the world, and he immediately spoiled the whole thing with umpteen trying questions. Maybe he should come up with his own ideas for once. How did he think we should get there? He didn't have an answer. He just pointed out that there were lots of options. He couldn't make any decision or have an opinion. He only knew that the whole idea was poorly thought out. The Greens saved the day by saying that they were willing to take their cars and pick everyone up. 5 cars should be enough, and they promised to arrange everything. This announcement calmed the discussion down a little, and the yellow woman could feel like a winner again. Her party had just been saved. Everyone looked forward to the party, but the yellow advisor never showed up. She had accidentally double booked that day. There must have been a wedding on the same weekend, or maybe a relative was turning 50. As a matter of fact, it might have been both.
Yes, Anjali, I may read now.
Okay, Suman, please stay.
Yeah, thank you. What happens at a company party when no one is paying attention? Once the party started, exciting things happened. We all know that alcohol affects people. We also know that different people are affected in different ways. Nothing strange so far. If we ignore for a moment that the amount of alcohol consumed is an important factor and assume that we are just talking about moderate drinking and that no one will drive their cars that night, we can see some interesting patterns. We had some yellows in our branch. The four sellers who dealt with private customers were very yellow. They were jovial, positive entertainers right from the outset. They needed no alcohol before daring to loosen up and became approachable. In fact, you could easily get the impression that they always were a bit tipsy because they had that frolicsome energy. They saw life as one long celebration that should always be funny and amusing. But the interesting thing is that yellows who drink can lose some of this. During the company party, I observed that three of the four yellow salespeople became more and more silent as the evening went on. As the intake of certain beverages increased and the atmosphere became more intense, they withdrew. I remember one of the guys sat down on the steps outside with a wine glass in his hand. I asked him what was the matter. He was moody and philosophical. What was the point of it all? Why did he go the extra mile? No one ever really thanked him for it. Perhaps the best thing to do was to resign. My cheerful colleague had been transformed into a brooding pessimist. Funnily enough, I found the blue credit manager inside the party venue dancing on the table while telling dirty jokes. Never before nor since have I heard such dirty jokes. When I asked his colleagues what he had been drinking, they shrugged their shoulders and said that he always behaved like that when he got started. If I had met him for the first time that night, I would have thought that he was one of the yellows at our workplace. It was as if yellows and the blues had completely switched personalities. You could conclude that a really good party consists of sober yellows and blues who are slightly under the influence. However, things became really interesting when I found our Red Bank director, who normally was quite stern. He had a glass of whiskey in his hand and was standing there speaking to the green group of administrators. He explained a little ambiguously. I hastened to add that he really was not a horrible person and that he liked them very much. When he lost his temper at the office, they should not take it personally. He meant no offense, and they did not need to be afraid of him. The six Greens, two men and four women who had been drinking as well, all spoke up and gave him a piece of their minds. They were irritated by his behavior and explained that he was the worst boss they had ever had. Each of them had been working in the office for at least 20 years, and when he was gone, they would still be there. And what did he think about that? They backed him into a corner and gave him a proper dressing down. The Red Boss fled the field and was the first to leave the party. Even the Reds and the Greens had changed behavior with each other in some strange way. I left the party with an extraordinary insight. Alcohol changes people, but exactly how they change is even more interesting. However, back in the office on Monday, everything was back to normal. The yellows told their latest jokes, and the blue guy did not say a word. The boss glowered at everyone, and the greens just started at the wall when he showed up. Order was restored. Again, I cannot prove this. So you simply have to do your own research. Challenge your pals late on a Friday night and you will understand exactly what I mean. Just take it easy with the alcohol. Chapter 12 is adaptation. How to handle idiots, that is, everyone who is not like you. Now let's take a look at how we can adapt to one another in order to work together. A man once said, admittedly with an ironic smile on his face, but still, that the test of intelligence is simple. If you agree with me, then you are intelligent. However, if you don't agree with me, then you are clearly and undoubtedly an idiot. I assume that you are intelligent enough to interpret this message correctly. But seriously, all of us have wondered why some people don't understand anything. As I said in the introduction, when I was young, I was often struck by the fact that people who appear to be very intelligent could at the same time be such complete idiots. They did not see what I saw. Some people delicately say that such individuals lack the right intellectual elasticity, but that is only because they are too well bred to let the word idiot come out of their mouths. People are obviously different. So, what do you do about it? How should we handle people who are different from us when they react and function in completely different ways? Can you take on various kinds of personalities in different situations? An interesting question. If it were possible to behave 100% like a chameleon, completely changing your behavior depending on whom you are with, would it be a good idea to try? It's natural for us to be who we are, to exhibit our own core behavior. But for a variety of reasons, we can feel the need to adapt to those around us. There is often a about lot of talk about how we must be flexible and adaptable so that we can cope with a wide variety of situations and are able to respond to many different types of people. The term has been the term has even been given a name: EI, emotional intelligence, or EQ, emotional quotient. To cope with this constant need for adaptation, it is important that we are aware that adaptation demands effort and takes a lot of energy. Our natural condition is to exhibit our core behavior. Our unnatural behavior is to continually adapt to others. And this requires ability, training, and energy. If we are uncertain as to what is right in a situation, if we are untrained or lack sufficient energy to cope with the role that we currently believe is the right one, we will be frightened, hesitant, and often stressed. As a result, we lose even more energy, and our core behavior becomes increasingly visible, often to the great surprise of those around us who are used to seeing us behave in a certain way. In a perfect world, in the best of worlds, everyone can be themselves and everything functions smoothly from the word go. Everyone agrees at all times and conflicts don't exist at all. This place is said to exist and it is called utopia, but it is not that simple. As I said at the beginning of this book, if you think that you can change everyone else, you will be very disappointed. It would surprise me if you could change anyone at all. No matter who you are, red, yellow, green, or blue, or combination of multiple colors, you will always be in the minority. Most of the people you encounter will be different from you, no matter how well balanced you are. You can't be all the types at the same time. So you have to adapt to the people you meet. Good communication is often a matter of adapting to others. But wait a minute. You might be thinking, that is not true. I can be myself. In fact, I never adapt myself or anyone, anytime, and it is gone very well. It has taken for me, it has taken me this far in life. Absolutely. Naturally, everyone can start with themselves. That is not a problem. But then don't expect to get through to other people with the message you are trying to share. If you can live knowing that most of the people you meet won't buy what you say, well, then you don't have a problem. You already do this even if you don't think you do. You already adapt your behavior even if you don't realize it. We all adapt to one another all the time. It is a part of the social game, the visible and invisible communication that is constantly in progress. I am just proposing a more reliable system. You don't have to gamble or guess You can make the right adjustment from the beginning, but please note, usually no system is perfect. Some people I meet don't like the idea of deliberately adapting to others. They consider it dishonest and manipulative. But again, you can always abstain. An example from real life. I am going to tell you a true story about a man I met during a training conference many years ago. A likable and very popular private entrepreneur who achieved great success in his field. This man, let us call him Adam, was extremely yellow, a real visionary with ambitious plans that were only occasionally put into effect. Adam had never thought about or reflected on how he behaved as a person or how he was perceived by others. There had never been any reason to. Someone had persuaded him to come to this conference, and he didn't really know what he was getting himself into. The topic that day was the same as this book. It was a full day workshop where we worked on how to understand different behavior profiles. After the lunch break, I saw that something was troubling Adam. His face was serious and his body language had become very closed. When I started talking again and explaining the various profiles, he sank deeper and deeper into his chair, and it was obvious to me that he was thinking about something else. I asked what was troubling him. There was an explosion. He exclaimed, "This is wrong. How could I categorize people like that? Put people into a theoretical grid system?" It turned out that he didn't like the idea of adapting to other types of people, but not because he thought that everyone had to adapt to him. No, what worried him was that he saw it as a way to manipulate others and he didn't like it. Didn't like it at all, in fact. Everyone wondered what the real problem was. Adam believed that you could not categorize people this way, that using a lot of models was just wrong. He thought that it was highly dangerous not to go on pure feeling. Someone in the group made it clear to him that he, of all people, should listen, since he was the one who attracted conflict. The debate was soon in full swing, and after 30 minutes, I had to call a timeout. I can understand Adam's concern, and I respect the fact that he raised the issue. What worried him was that it would not work. If everyone adapted to one another, no one would be themselves any longer. In his way of thinking, that would be the greatest deception, not to be yourself. There is something in what he said. At the same time, of course, you can always choose how much or little you modulate your behavior. The more you learn about other people, the easier it becomes for you to make decisions. Join in the game or go your own way. The decision will always be yours. Furthermore, Adam was also deeply resentful that I, as a specialist in the field, could describe him in quite some detail and give examples of how I thought he was wired. When he looked at the assessment tool that describes an individual, he went completely silent. Ultimately, after we sat down and discussed the matter, Adam came to understand the role and benefits of behavior assessment. But he taught me to be careful with how I use this knowledge. Yes, Pranvi, you want to read?
Pranavi?
Yes, 1 second. Yeah. Where you're exactly? Yes.
How often do we
Yeah.
follow a system?
How often do we follow a system without knowing if it works? No system is perfect. There are always exceptions. This is just one piece in the jigsaw puzzle of human life. It's certainly a large and important piece, but it's far from the whole picture. I have divided up the sections and on adoption into two parts of each color. The first part deals with what you need to do to interact meaningfully with another person when you really want to get through to him and put him in a cheerful mood and make him feel that you understand him. The second part deals with how you get people to take your side with each profile once in a situation isn't necessarily the best thing to do to make progress. You can do a great deal of good if you choose to do. Adapting to red behavior. What a red behavior expects you. Do what I asked of you as quickly as possible, preferably even faster than that. If you ask a red, he will agree that most people are too slow. They speak too slow, they have trouble coming to the point, and they work ineffectively. In a red's world, everything simply takes way too long. Remember what I told you about impatience in red behavior, about their constant pursuit of results? When other people turn things over in their minds from morning to night, it drives a red crazy. Thought and action are one. It has to be done quickly. If there is anything red dislikes, it's endless discussion. It makes them flip out. Conclusion. If you want to adopt to a red's tempo, hurry up, speed up, speak and act more quickly. Look at the clock often because that's what a red does. If you can conclude a meeting in half the time, do it. If you have a red with you in a car, he won't be upset if you're a little bit over the speed limit. If you drive too slowly, he might insist on taking the steering wheel. Do you want something? Speak up. As you know, Reds are very much to the point and they enjoy being with other people who also have the ability to tell them what they want quickly. If you have a tendency to go around circles before getting to the crux of the matter, you will have difficulty getting through to a Red. He will get tired if you waste your words without due cause, and he knows when he is dealing with a chatterbox. It's very common for people to provide some background to a problem before describing the problem itself, and maybe even some more background to the solution of the problem. Forget it, it won't work. Conclusion. If you want to have a red's full attention, cut the small talk. It's vital that you're clear and straightforward. Determine the most essential point of your message and start there. Let's say that you're going to present the latest financial statement. Say what's written on the last line of the slide first. That's what a red is sitting there waiting for anyway. Then you can go into the details. Don't use a single word unnecessarily, but make sure you have done your homework when it comes to the background. Questions may come up. If a red senses that you are uncertain, you will be grilled on the facts. Written materials should be concise and, above all, well laid out. No endless dissertations written by someone who loves the sound of his own voice. A single line jotted down at the back of the napkin will do the job. I couldn't care less what you did on vacation. Reds live in the present. Everything that happens is happening here and now. They have a unique ability to focus on what's on the current agenda. Thus, you need to stick to the topic when you speak to a red. He has no problem with creativity or new ideas. This is always appreciated as long as it moves you forward. But when a red feels that you have left the agenda altogether and are beginning to faddle, then conflict is not that far off. The most effective method for a red is to establish what the problem is and then just go to work. Simple, isn't it? Conclusion. Stick to the topic. The easiest way is to prepare your case very precisely before going into a meeting with a red. If, in the middle of an interesting discussion, another thought pops up into your head, write it down and ask at the end of the meeting if it's okay to raise the issue. Otherwise, schedule a meeting. If someone with lots of red in his behavior asks what time it is, answer the question with the exact time. Don't say that there is plenty of time. He will decide that himself. And again, don't forget to keep up the pace. For a red, speed will be synonymous with efficiency. Now we are talking business. Never forget it. Being business like in business doesn't really sound like a novel idea, but think about it. If you are a seller, you have probably attended a number of training courses in sales where you learned that you have to build up a relationship with the customer. Get to know him, win him over to your side. This is a good advice. Do it. Build relationships as much as you deem necessary. Just don't do it with reds. For example, if you begin a meeting with a red whom you have never met before, nothing could be worse than asking where he lives, where he spent his last vacation, or what he thought of the game last night. Nothing could be more irrelevant to him. He is not here to chat or make friends, he is there to do business. Deeply red individuals become downright irritated and aggressive when they notice that someone is trying to be friends with them. A red is not here to uh, just a moment. A red is not here to be your Paul. He is only here for one reason, to do business. He might throw you out, figuratively speaking, if he perceives your attempts to be friendly as integration or fawning. This isn't something he would dream of doing himself, so neither should you. And don't flatter a red if you don't know him well. Just leave the compliments at home. Conclusion. Paradoxically, red are the easiest to sell to. If you want to do good business, the only thing you need to do is step into a Red's office, present your suggestions, and then ask about a deal. Skip the football game yesterday. Never mind that you saw him in the supermarket last week. He didn't see you anyway. When a red trusts you and has decided that you are a decent person who can be advantageous to him, well, then he may very well start discussing cars, boats, or the latest policies. Play ball with him, but then and only then. And don't be surprised if the meeting ends mid sentence. When he is satisfied with his socializing, he concludes it instantly. It has nothing to do with you. He's just tired of conversation. You don't actually know. You don't actually know. Then why am I wasting my time with you? It may sound like a contradiction, but a red would also like you to be determined and direct. Although he often demands that he makes all the important decisions himself, he strongly dislikes dealing with vacillating people. Dancing the hesitation waltz does not instill trust. Comments like it's hard to say, it depends, or I don't really know what to say just frustrate Reds. If you have an opinion, out with it. Reds judge you on how driven you are. You should listen to them, of course, but you must have an opinion of your own. Otherwise, you are weak, and that's not a quality that will win you any points. Keep in mind that we all like people in whom we can recognize ourselves. A red won't meet other reds every day, so when he actually does, he's pleasantly surprised. And equal, wonderful. I have met reds who have rubbed their hands gleefully before starting a heated debate. Conclusion. Deliver your opinion without blinking. In the end, you might have a conceit, but never sell yourself short. A red can rattle and rumble, stamp on the floor, raise his voice, and shake his fist. Many people back off in the face of this behavior. It's not pleasant to be shouted at, isn't it? Well, the worst thing you can do is back away and let him walk all over you. If a red is permitted to walk over you, you lose something very important in his eyes, that is respect. If he doesn't respect you, he will eat you alive and walk over you again and again and again until you become completely and totally marginalized. You won't be someone to be reckoned with in the future. a complete doormat. The best thing you can do is place yourself in the center of the storm, telling him that he's wrong. When a red discovers that you won't give in, he will turn in an instant. If you know what you're talking about, that is. Is anyone interested to read or should I go ahead? Please tell.
Uh, I can continue.
Yes, thank you all.
Yeah. Good morning, all. You can sleep when you are dead. If you have a boss who is dead, he will work hard, maybe harder than anyone else you have ever met. He will have many irons in the fire at once, and he will have complete control over everything that's happening. Red can live with the fact that everything won't be right the first time, but he will demand that you work hard. You should be diligent in everything. Feel free to put in overtime if you can. I urge you not to become a workaholic. Life has more to offer than work, but from the perspective of a red boss, this would be the first class quality. He will hold you in high esteem if he sees your commitment in the form of hard work. Conclusion: show that you work hard. You don't need to run into the Red's office every 5 minutes, informing him that last night you stayed at work until half past 11. He might not even be impressed. He might just ask you whether such a trifling little task like that war rented the time you spent on it. But you should report back regularly about what you have done and present briefly the result of your efforts. Be willing to take initiatives, offer suggestions that the red didn't ask for. As usual, get ready for a fight, but he will like that you are driven. Please note that wording in the preceding sentence. It doesn't say that he will like you because you are driven. It says like that you are driven. A red boss may very well like you. That's sometimes the case, but don't expect lot of glowing and pleasant praise. How to behave when you meet a red. You don't have to completely adapt to how rats want you to behave. That would be surrendering. There are several other things you need to keep an eye on in order to achieve the result you want. Because rats have their faults and failings, but often turns a blind eye to them. You can help them to achieve a better result if you know how. Here are some points to keep in mind. Details. Boring. Essentially, rats dislike getting into details. It's boring and takes time. Thus, rats tend to be careless about small matters. You can accuse rats of many things, but meticulousness isn't typically one of them. For them, the destination will always be more important than the journey. So rats will do just about anything to achieve the desired results. Rats won't naturally stop to consider the small things or analyze their methods. Conclusion: if you really want to help raise to better work, try to demonstrate the benefits of keeping an eye on the details. Explain that the results will be better and profits larger if they just consider a couple of small but crucial elements of the project. Be prepared for the huff and puff and a general unwillingness to act on your advice, but if you are good at arguing, your advice will be followed. As we know, rats are good at pushing themselves to the limit, just as long as they make headway. Quick but often fright, frightfully wrong. As I have written several times before, everything in rats' world is usually very urgent. You can figure out for yourself the risk this entails. Putting the pedal to the to the metal may seem like a good idea, but only when everything else, most of all everyone else, is on the same train. Normally rats rush ahead of the groove, only to get annoyed when others can't keep pace. A rat needs someone who can get him to pause and realize that not everyone has grasped the situation as quickly as he has. He will never be able to carry out all the phases of a project on his own, even if he believes he can and probably will attempt to. He still needs to have his team with him. You have probably heard the expressions quick and wrong. Conclusion: give examples of stances where time was lost by being too hasty. Point out the risk involved in hurrying too much. Explain that others can't keep up. Point out that it would be great if everyone knew what the project was about. Don't give in. Assert that not even he can manage everything himself. Force a rat to wait for others. Afterwards, try to discuss the event and show clearly and distinctly what was gained and how much the raid has profited by taking things a bit slower. Let's try a few completely untested ideas and see how it goes. Should we really do that? Red individuals are not anxious about risks. Many reds actively search for the risky situation just for the thrill of it. In fact, what others might perceive as dangerous behavior, a red would not even think of as risky. Hey, life is risky. You won't get out of it alive. However, rats do need someone who can weigh and the advantage against the disadvantages. Disadvantages are boring, of course, so a rat individual will often simply ignore them. Since the answer to what risk you take often lies in the details, your approach should be similar to the way you handle discussing details with a rat. Conclusion: rats calculate risk by constantly looking at the facts. Facts are something that they understand. Since rats prefer not to look backwards, old and tiring, and focus on the present and the future. A plain and honest exchange of experiences may be called for. Give example of situations that historically were shown to the dangerous. It can be about business risk, going downhill skiing without a helmet, or calling the boss an idiot. Prove things with facts and demand that the person thinks twice before deciding to take on a new project without first having checked the conditions. As usual, you are right. Stick to your guns and don't give in. I am not here to be your pal or anyone else for that matter. Since many rates are less relationally focused, they are frequently criticized for insisting that all relationships must take place on their terms, even in private life. People around rats frequently feel that they are being steamrolled by their friends and co-workers. It's rarely the intention. It is just something that happens. You can't make an omelette without breaking eggs, and so on. Rats may not understand that others are avoiding them because they would rather avoid conflict. They also means that rats can be excluded from the important information. They may not feel excluded if they are invited for a beer on Friday evening. but it's far worse for them to feel left out of an important decision. In the worst case, this can lead them to suspect the people around them are deliberately withholding important information. The power struggle is just moments away. Conclusion: Rats need to understand that rose to full transparency is to adapt to others. That ought, that thought may never even have crossed their minds. They are mostly focused on themselves and their own things. But by realizing that no one can manage everything alone, they can be prevailed upon a pause and actually care about others' people. When a rat understands that many people think it's important to chat about their child's first tooth, how the cabin how the cabin they rented on vacation was furnished, and about the boat they are dreaming of buying, he can listen actively and contribute to the discussion. Once a rat understands what all this is small talk is about, the door is open. You you may even learn something about him. What kind of links are you? Just handle it. Rats just get
Can
angry.
you stop from here? Yes.
Just this is the last page.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Rats just get angry. It can't be said any clearer than that. Their temperament is such that it detonates every now and then, causing migraines for everyone's around. They don't notice it happening themselves. Screaming a little bit is just another way to communicate. No one likes a bully, but not everyone is willing to say so. When a rat tramples on someone's toes, you must tell him nicely that it doesn't work like that. He will put on an innocent face and pretend that he doesn't understand what you are talking about. Secretly, he will be thinking that if some people are afraid of him, well, that's just tough. Conclusion: You should confront his behavior immediately. Don't allow any exceptions. Just say loudly and clearly that you won't tolerate coarse remarks, nastiness, and call for tantrums. Demand adult behavior, and if he loses his temper, just leave the room. It's important that you never let him get his way just by barking his head off. Just remember that this is technique, bickering and brawling that has worked for and red they worked for the rats for many years. As a child, he might have gotten his way by quarreling. More than likely, his family experience, his explosive temperament in his very early years, and you can bet that they just come to avoid the air raid siren. Very few people have confronted him about this, meaning that the demand for the calmer conversation could easily lead to even louder protests. The one thing a rat detests more than anything else is being told that he must lower his voice. Thank you.
Okay. So with this we end how to adapt with the red people. Tomorrow we'll read from the adapting to yellow behavior. Anyone wants to share anything? I'll stop sharing.
Yes. I'm really feeling so surprised to read about the different behavior personalities. The writer surely has put so much efforts in studying about the different behaviors and how he has put up in the form of the book. That's really eye-opening that by just knowing the personalities, by observing them, we can create a better place around us, not only at home, uh, in business, or with the society around us. Yeah, that's my. I was wondering today while I was going through all the red behavior that how minutely he has described the behaviors.
Right. And he has also told how to adapt to that, how to adjust with such a person who's shouting,
Yes.
who's screaming, and what to do. So, in the end, he said, "No, you don't have to shout, you just leave the room. Let the person realize that shouting won't help." This
Yeah,
is
very
also
true.
nice. Yeah, this is also a nice way. Really amazing how he has differentiated all the people in like put in four brackets, no, four color brackets. It's good. It's really amazing. And the
Hmm.
reds, the qualities about what they expect. They don't want the uh, details. They just want. They are result oriented, so they just focus on the result, irrespective of how they are treating their team. They are screaming, they are shouting, they are just ignoring, or they are commanding, they are dominating. All those factors, no, the how like it really explains how, if we can recognize a person who is around us and how he's behaving and how to tackle him as well. That is how we have to live in a society. Now, once we understand the people around, it becomes easy when we understand that what exactly this personality is and how to tackle with them.
Yeah, it's just like getting more emotionally intelligent, knowing about different colors and their behaviors.
Correct.
So I want to share here. So this the rate behavior exactly matches with my ex boss. So the whatever the each and every quality what this book is mentioning. So I had worked with him around for 1 year. So the exactly whatever the quality that whenever any meeting happen, no one confronts with him. If someone is confronting with him, he will start grilling him. Well,
Yes,
he
yes.
will take that as insult, and then he will start grilling. He will not leave that person during the whole meeting, and he will ensure that he just says sorry at the last of the meeting. Why then he will think why I asked, why I confronted with him. And if you want to confront with him, you just skip that meeting. If you go with him in his cabin, then he will be the completely different person. He will listen you, he will understand your point of view. But in the meeting, when someone is you start, you will give the different argument, the argument against him, then he will not leave you, and he will just ensure that you say sorry to him in front of all the people. And when you are presenting any facts, data, discussing, and you are not prepared, then if he come to know that this is that you are not prepared, then again he will start just grilling on that point. Everything that he will ensure that you come prepared next time. He will ensure that. And whenever we are discussing some personally, just we are two people in his cabin, we are discussing some personal matter, so then he will think that he will just take interest. He will just for 3 minutes 4 minutes he will discuss, he will show his sympathy. Then he will feel that it is not just is relevant. He will engage in his work, and then we will feel that now just it is done. Then we have to leave this cabin, because he will not waste much time. He will get engaged in the other work. So the now that the what the author is saying now, how just how just react to the right person, that is very important. If you put certain facts, what the author suggested, if you present certain things, that the facts with the facts and examples of others, then he will be able to convince. Otherwise he will always keep on pushing his agenda, his point of view. If you he will show him the past history or pictures, then he will think that this can be done this way also. Otherwise he understand that he is only the right person, others are only just the idiots.
You
That's
had a perfect example.
huh.
Yes. So I remember you said you are a green type person, green
Yes.
personality. So how was your experience with him?
So it's was I it's a completely different where that actually what I actually I sometimes what happened initially I had not met such a person in my whole career. I had when started working with him. Now I was where I have come.
Hmm.
He just say he just you have to finish all these things in 2 hours. How will I then and he was CEO and I was the finance head. So always he thinks that the what the finance do, that the everything, the process, he just consider them as a bullshit. That this all this delays the process. He just want the things get it done and he want to achieve that the destination. What this book says the destination. It does it the process doesn't matter, the journey doesn't matter for him. So it was very difficult to work with him. But but somehow that the organization in which I work, so there other environment, other processes, so somehow he has to adjust because in previous organization where he was worked, he was the only authority to decide. So in that environment he had worked, so the similar type of the practice he thought that I will implement here. But that is not that every organization doesn't work like that. And every time that it was very well, initially 2 3 months he was I was not able to understand him and he was not able to understand me. But after a time where I am actually doing the work very hard, and I was working till late and I was delivering the result, then he become happy every time when I was delivering the results are coming. And if sometimes I am not updating him the status, then you keep the things under the carpet. Every time if you go yourself and update him, then he will be happy and he will will back you, and he will support you. But if you will do it your own, then he will not. He wants the regular updates from you. So that in the 2 3 months I also started learning his behavior and how to update him, how to just interact with him. So that way, that the one year I spent with him, but that was the complete different in my 17 18 years of the career, that the one year was completely different to work with him.
Right. So I understand how difficult a red leader is, red team leader. And author has also mentioned most of the CEOs are the red because they are goal oriented. They just need that, they just need to reach the destination. They don't know how the journey should be. They just want that we have to achieve this, and most of it, like the speed also matters in that time. So they focus only on the goal as well as the time, and they even forget how the people, the team is working along. So red also need to learn how to take them, how to make them understand the task, and if they are communicating the details themselves or they are working with the team, no, it becomes a harmonious practice. And the people also enjoy working with them. But as you said, Anilji, it was challenging, and since you are green and you, so that is why you were able to adapt to him.
Correct,
Because
correct.
green are the most calm and most easygoing people. They easily adapt to others. That is how it was a quite easy thing for you, but it would have been challenging for others, the blues or the yellows, who have their different energies. So yeah, it was nice share.
Hey,
Good to hear.
one more thing that I want to share, that this red people, that he he basically uh when he basically I just there's a thought came in my mind, just I'm not able to, that he will basically I initially used to think that he's targeting personally a person specific. But by the time I come to know that he's not targeting any person, he's just driving the different agenda. He want to achieve something. He has taken some target in his mind. He have his own 10 pointers checklist. He will call in the morning, whether in his car, he will call all the persons in the morning. What happens every day, whether he has spoken yesterday, he know the updates, but he will call in the morning, he will take the update. So every day say 10 agenda, if he needs to talk 4 people, then he will call in the morning. then why you have not done yesterday? Then it's his routine that he will keep on tracking his whatever what he need to do. He is very much clear in his mind, and he will chase all those agenda on everyday basis. Even sometimes वो मेरे को कहता था कि that मेरे को हाथ में सरसों उगाने की आदत है. Literally he used to say कि that मेरे को हाथ में सरसों उगाने की आदत है, अगर तो ऐसे बोलता था. He used to say like that.
Huh. He was in a habit of taking up the challenges and proving himself.
हाँ,
That's
correct.
it, right? Yeah. So a very deep yellow, deep red.
Deep red, completely all the
Complete.
qualities I am reading here. Na, he possesses all that qualities.
And what about his explosiveness? Was he shouting or aggressive at times?
He in the normally all the meetings he do na. So in all the meeting he is aggressive.
Right.
He all the time in the meeting he is aggressive. He all the person he ensure that the things when the some target has been given he is not done, then he will shout left and right. Matlab he will embrace the people, and he will just ensure that the things are done. People used to explain him, but he will his meeting, and no meeting goes without shouting or मतलब मतलब that the meeting if any meeting is happening with him, it will be मतलब that the people and subordinate feel uneasy, uncomfortable. So everyone will ensure ki that if what the timeline we are putting, we have something to explain him, or we have completed that, or before the meeting either we have updated him. Even if you have updated him before the meeting, he will, if he think that is important for his destination, then he will grill in the whole meeting. Why
Right.
you have not done? Why it is not done? What is the other things? How we will achieve? We need to achieve that way. Matlab, many things he will speak. He will not care कि that how if another if he's speaking another senior person, he will not see in front of all the juniors he will speak, say something negatively about him. So that's the thing, he don't care matlab कि
Yes,
how
understood.
in front of whom he is speaking.
Yeah, so because his target was just the result, he was
Yes,
result oriented. He wanted that. And the outcome, when they are outcome oriented, no, they really forget how they are behaving. The behavior doesn't matter. The how they treat others, that doesn't matter because they are focusing only on the outcome. Although you would be getting a good outcome, the results would be good, but yes, they might be losing people around, and this is how the other colors they end up getting people, they end up like getting good friends also, but reds generally they don't have good friends around. But their behavior, one thing I understood was that behavior when alone is different and when in a team it is different. When alone they are compassionate, they are ready to hear, but to an extent where the discussion is also short. They don't waste time on discussions, they don't like elaborated discussions, and they concentrate on the preciseness and the like when the topic is over, they just don't waste time. They are very much oriented that the time should be saved, and it has to be very short and clear discussions. So that is it. Anyone
correct,
else wants
correct.
to share? So it's 8, 9 now. Anyone?
Yeah, I could also remember some people who fall in the category, and I like the distinction in the book, how it is divided color wise. So I just felt that when some people come in your life, like even going forward, you can actually see them in those colors maybe, and you can identify and you know how to tackle or deal with them. So this was my realization today, and yeah, this is nice. Even you briefed it also very beautifully initially, what each color and how their personality stands for. So yeah,
So
nothing more
actually,
from my end.
yes, actually, Mansi, one thing I would add that it is not that there are only negatives of each color. See, everyone needs each other. if a green in a team of green who are easygoing, or a team of yellow who are full of energy but they are not focused, they need a leader, a red leader who can channelize their
Yeah.
energy or who can push them. So each one is dependent on each other. If they really want to live well in the society, if they want a harmonious society, everyone has to work together, and every color is important, every color personality is important. It's not just one color which is right, or it is not just one color that is wrong. They have to balance. The only thing is balance, balancing the qualities, balancing the positives and balancing the negatives, where it is like a jigsaw which each color they fit into each other very well. That is where the society works well. And be it in a corporate field or be it in the family sphere, they have to work together. And once the people understand what are the qualities, what are the good qualities, what are the bad, the drawbacks also, it becomes really helpful. And I think this book is so well written and so well expressive about each color. It's really great. And thank you, Anilji. It was a real life share, and wonderfully you have explained each traits of red color. And it was good that you have experienced it as well, and you were able to connect it. So good. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Anyone
yes.
else wants to say anything? Or share?
Pranavi, Suman?
Yeah. I have expressed what I felt today. Yeah, and it was wonderful listening to Anilji and you all.
Okay, Pranavi, or shall we call it a day?
Yeah, nothing much to say because I don't know. I have taken only three keywords from the red personality. If I see a red personality around me, I need to keep things in short, be confident, look into their eyes, and express. That's it. I mean, if you wanted to win them or to make the things done or something like that.
Yeah, and one more thing, if there is no details, na, then they would be grilling. So you have to be
Yes, in
thorough
short,
with
in
the
short.
details.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
That is also there. They grill a lot.
yes.
Okay,
All
so
right.
with that, we call it a day. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining. And this was on behalf of Rajesh ji. I was hosting the
thank you
call.
so much, darling.
Yeah, as yeah, he's traveling. So tomorrow we'll see Rajesh ji again.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you,
Anjali,
Anjali.
for
It was a
thank you
great
hi.
all.
call. Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can
now
hear
you
you.
are
Yes, yes,
clear.
we can. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anjali, for taking care of the entire session. You beautifully conducted the sharings and sharing the screen as well as hosting the event. Yeah, it's a great opportunity, and for you also, it's a different experience. Likewise, some of our members coming forward and taking up, leading the books and leading the sessions also grateful.
Right.
But you are a great leader, Rajesh. You lead so well. We need you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, then.
Yeah,
See you all
Okay, thank you.
tomorrow.
yeah,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
Thank
so
Bye
much.
you.
bye.
Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Anjali. Thank you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Once you wait for a minute, let me take a summary.
Yeah. I'm taking summary. You can
Okay.
also take additionally, like I'm just informing you.
Okay.
If you want to give some other prompt and